Okay, so we are now recording. So welcome once again, everybody, to today's lesson. My name is Alistair, and here is the lesson for today. It's called Professional Networking. Okay, so I have a question already. Okay, well, if you want to ask a question, by all means do so in the chat. We're going to try and keep the microphones off just so that I can deliver the lesson. But I will check that everyone can hear me okay. I hope that is the case. Okay, well, let's get started. Let's have a look at our agenda for today. So we've got 4 parts to the lesson today: an introduction, the language of networking, and different types of networking, and common phrases. Okay. Well, let's start with the introduction. Okay, so networking. Today we will look at language and etiquette for professional events. Professional networking is the process of actively creating relationships within your field or industry. It involves connecting with professionals, colleagues, and peers to exchange information, advice, and support. Okay, sorry guys, do we have any questions? I've got 2 raised hands. Does anyone have a question? Okay, well then I shall continue. So networking, it goes beyond just knowing people. It is about cultivating meaningful connections that can benefit both parties in the long run. So let's have a look at the language of networking, okay? Because networking, no problem. Networking is something you guys may be confident to do. That's great. Today's lesson is to help you with the language in English, the language of networking in English. That's our big objective today. So the language of networking. Mastering verbal communication. So common greetings. In professional networking, greetings set the tone for interactions. Hello, or good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Add a friendly, nice to meet you. So, hello, nice to meet you. Good afternoon, nice to meet you. Or even, it's a pleasure to meet you. Okay, so for example, good morning. It's a pleasure to meet you. Okay, so these expressions convey a positive atmosphere straight away. So in the language of networking, we have what we call small talk. Okay, small talk. It's conversation. Okay, now small talk is an essential part of networking as it helps break the ice. Okay, so when we don't know someone, there's almost like a barrier between us, and we need to break through that barrier as quickly as possible. And this is what breaking the ice is. Okay, So to help with small talk, to help you break the ice, consider asking open-ended questions like, how's your day going? Which events like this have you attended before? Where are you from? What are you enjoying about the event so far? These questions encourage conversation and create a comfortable environment for further discussion. So they're what we call open-ended questions because they require an answer that is not just yes or no, because these are closed questions which don't encourage conversation necessarily. So open-ended questions, much better. Okay. So open-ended questions stimulate or encourage conversation. Open-ended questions start with a question word. Where, what, how, for example. These are question words which create open-ended questions. These questions encourage conversation as they cannot just be answered with yes or no, which are closed questions. There we are. Okay. So let's continue with small talk. Conversation starters. So we've got an activity here. I'd like you guys to think about an icebreaker question. Okay, so I'd like us all to think of an icebreaker question. I'm going to think of one too. We're going to spend a few seconds to think about this. If you want, you can put your icebreaker question into the chat at the bottom. Okay, so for example, I'm going to think of one too. I'm going to write it in the chat as well. Okay, so I'm going to write an example perhaps of an icebreaker question. It's open. It starts with a greeting. Good morning. What time did you arrive today? So this is an open-ended question that requires an answer that is not yes or no. Do you have pets at home? That's fantastic, yes. This is a small talk open question. Well, it's a closed question. For example, do you have pets at home? I could answer this yes or no. But if I do say yes or no, if I say yes, you can follow that up with what pets do you have at home? Okay, so we can think about things that are possibly open-ended to start with, but a great one. Well done. So, fantastic. So I'm going to think of one more. Okay, so for example, good afternoon. How did you get here today? I got here by train. I travelled by car. These are another icebreaker. This is another icebreaker question, and open as well. Okay, well done, great. We're going to continue then. We've got more to look at today. So let's have a look at the next part here. Okay, so the language of networking. Okay, so we've got an expression here. It's called an elevator pitch. Okay, now an elevator pitch is a brief self-introduction. So the elevator pitch is a concise or accurate self-introduction that highlights your professional background and expertise. Okay, so if we look in the image, we have an elevator, of course. We have someone in the elevator, and someone gets in the elevator and says, "I've got an idea." And then the other person says, "We've got a deal." Okay, now this is just an illustration. It's not accurate, but let's have a look. Okay, where are you making this video? Okay, that's another good icebreaker. Good. Okay, so we've got an example here, a for instance. So for instance, I am a teacher with expertise in teaching. Okay, so creating an incredible elevator pitch helps others understand your role and what value you bring to the table. Okay, so we're going to think about this elevator pitch a little bit more. So how to create your pitch at home. The 4-step elevator pitch. Number 1, start by introducing yourself. Hi, my name is Sarah. It's so nice to meet you. Provide a summary of what you do. Number 2, provide a summary of what you do. I'm a PR manager specializing in overseeing successful initiative launches from beginning to end. Number 3, explain what you want. I find the work your PR team does to be innovating and refreshing. I'd love the opportunity to put my expertise to work for your company. Number 4, finish with a call to action. Would you mind if I set up a quick call next week for us to talk about any upcoming opportunities on your team? Okay, so there's 4 steps here. Number 1, introducing yourself. Number 2, provide a summary of what you do. Number 3, explain what you want. Number 4, finish with a call to action. Okay. So we've got another activity here. Okay, so the idea is to understand, why is it called an elevator pitch? Okay, why is it called an elevator pitch? So there are 3 possible answers here, A, B, or C. If you want, you can write your answer in the chat. So is it called an elevator pitch because it lifts our self-esteem? Or is it called an elevator pitch because it is concise and can be done in a short time? Or is it an elevator pitch because it can only be done in an elevator? Okay, so There's one correct answer there, either A, B, or C. If you want, you can put your answer in the chat. Okay, and we shall continue in just a moment. So have a little think. Is it called an elevator pitch because it lifts our self-esteem? Is it called an elevator pitch because it is concise and can be done in a short time? Or is it called an elevator pitch because it can only be done in an elevator? Okay, well, we've had a couple of answers in already, and they are both correct. Okay, the idea behind the name is that it can be done in a short time, in the time it takes to go up in an elevator from the first floor perhaps to the 5th floor. So it's concise, and for that we have those 4 concise steps. Okay guys, well done. Thank you very much for taking part in that exercise. Let's have a look at the next part of the lesson. Okay, so we're going to now have a look at etiquette in professional networking. Okay, so we're going to look at navigating professional interactions. And the first thing we're going to look at here are handshakes. Handshakes. Okay, so proper handshake technique. Well, this is an important part of networking etiquette. So what is the proper handshaking technique? Okay, so again, we're looking at the language of this for you. So a firm but not overpowering handshake is a universal sign of professionalism. Number 2, demonstrate the proper technique, emphasizing the importance of making eye contact during the handshake. Okay, so eye contact, what does this mean? Doesn't mean to contact the eye, but it means to make contact with the other person's eyes. So you are looking into their eyes. Okay, make eye contact. So there are some diagrams here. We've got the first one is too firm. It's like, so that's what too firm is. It's too strong. The second one is what we call a normal handshake. And the third one, a weak handshake. Okay, so the first and the third, the strong handshake and the weak handshake, is not what we want. We want the second handshake, which we can call a normal handshake. Okay, so let's have a look at some do's and don'ts, as we say in English. Do's and don'ts. So do's, these are things that we should do. So do's are things that we should do. And don'ts, these are things that we shouldn't do. Okay, so do's and don'ts. This may include appropriate attire or clothing, body language. Okay, so the language that our body speaks. Okay, and the use of electronic devices. Okay, so this is very prevalent in today's society. Everybody has a mobile phone, but having that out all the time is not a good etiquette in a networking event. Okay, so let's check the do's column here. So do's, know your value. do's. Do your research before networking. Do's. Have good body language. Okay. Don'ts. Don't network without a plan. Don't bring up triggering points. Don't ignore social cues. Okay, so let's go back to the do's. We've got that word value, and this is our worth. Okay, so, and this is your value on your skills and abilities. So be clear on your skills and abilities. Okay, the second do is to do your research. This means be prepared. Okay, if you are at a networking event, be prepared to talk about things that are relevant to that networking event. The third do is to have good body language. So our bodies, they communicate just like words. Positive body language is open and neutral. So by neutral, I mean not defensive, like the picture, or like this, defensive body language. And also not aggressive, so not leaning in to people's personal space. So body language, open and neutral, not defensive or aggressive. Okay, so let's have a look at those don'ts. So we've got the word there, don't bring up triggering topics. Okay, now triggering topics are, these are topics that cause controversy. Okay, and there are many triggering topics. We can talk about things that are in the news that some people might think are okay and some people don't think are okay. These are topics that might create people to get annoyed. So we want to stay away from triggering topics. Okay, these are topics that can cause controversy, which we don't want at a networking event. We want a smooth event. Okay, and don't ignore social cues. Okay, so a social cue. Okay, so be aware of people. If someone offers their hand to shake, don't ignore the offer. This is a social cue. Okay, if someone offers you to go first or open the door for you, don't ignore that social cue. Okay, so a cue is a prompt. Okay, guys, well, let's continue. So I mentioned eye contact. Okay, so this describes eye contact. Eye contact, importance and appropriate duration. Okay, so duration, this means the length of time. Number one, maintaining eye contact during conversations. Okay, so we want to maintain eye contact. Okay, but we need to be careful. Okay, for example, in number two, it says it conveys confidence and engagement. Okay, it does. So these very good words in English: confidence, engagement. Now, number three, we've also got the word staring. Now, staring is this. It's when we just look at people and don't blink. Okay, so this can be uncomfortable. So a natural, intermittent gaze is ideal. We can break eye contact momentarily, but we want to resume it as well. Okay, there are two there are two pictures here, one with a professional triangle and one with a personal triangle. And the professional triangle is the place to look at during a networking event, and the personal triangle is the place to look at when we're talking in a less professional event or situation. Okay, well, let's continue. Let's have a look at the next part. Here we go. Active listening, a key to effective communication. Active listening involves nodding, paraphrasing, and follow-up questions to show genuine interest. It does not include interrupting. Okay, so active listening. So let's have a look at 7 steps to active listening here. Be attentive. Ask open-ended questions. Request clarifications. Summarize. Show empathy. And use open body language. Okay, now there are different types of networking. So let's have a look at the next part. So networking events and conferences. Preparing for events, research your goals. Set specific goals for what you want to achieve, such as making a certain number of connections, learning about industry trends, or identifying potential job opportunities. So we want to go with a clear objective. There are some networking preparation tips here in English. So preparation or prep tips. Know your purpose. Test your tech tools. Do your homework. Get your story straight. Prepare some conversation starters. Brush up your online presence. Have a plan for following up. Consider your presentation. Look for a variety of networking events. Now, during events, approaching people and starting conversations. So we have this expression again, break the ice by expressing genuine interest in the other person. Start with a friendly greeting and introduce yourself. Ask open-ended questions about their work experience. After events, follow up emails and connections on professional platforms. Send personalized follow-up emails expressing gratitude for the conversation and reinforcing the connection. Connect with individuals on professional platforms like LinkedIn, where you can continue the dialogue. So here is a template which you can edit and use. After events, follow-up emails. Okay, so I'll read through. There is a subject at the top. Have you tried using for? So have you tried using a particular tool for a particular goal? Hi, first name. Glad we got to meet at the event. I checked out your website afterwards and loved your take on creating high-performance teams. Have you tried using? I use that framework with my team and it has been incredibly successful. Happy to chat more about it or send over some templates and examples if you are interested. Again, it was great meeting you at the and I hope to see you again soon. Signature. Okay, so this is a follow-up email, and the tone of this is friendly. Okay, this is a friendly follow-up email. So in email communication, we want formal language and structure. So professionalism is key in email communication. Use formal, not slang, and appropriate language and a structured format, including a clear subject line, proper salutations, greetings, and a concise yet informative body. Okay, so we want to be concise again. So all of this is English language to talk about something perhaps you do all the time. Okay. Let's think about LinkedIn etiquette in English. So building a professional online presence. Optimize your profile with a professional photo, a compelling summary that highlights your skills and experiences. Engage in industry-related discussions. Share relevant content and connect with professionals to expand your network. Let's check some common phrases. So number 1, introducing yourself. Hi, I'm and I work in the industry. Number 2, requesting information. Could you share your insights on? Number 3, expressing interest. I find your work fascinating. Okay, let's check some other expressions. Number 4, offering assistance. Is there anything I can help you with? Number 5, closing a conversation. It was great talking to you. Let's stay in touch. Number 6, thanking someone. Thank you for your time and insights. So, what are opportunities? So, networking opens doors to new career opportunities, such as job offers, collaborations, or business ventures. These are opportunities. Knowledge. Through networking, you gain access to a wealth of industry insights, knowledge, trends, and best practices. Support. Networking provides a support system where you can seek advice, guidance, and mentorship. Okay, guys, well, let's have a look at our conclusion for today's lesson. So, in conclusion, we covered essential language of professional networking, emphasizing the language of building meaningful connections for career growth. Remember to greet with warmth, engage in effective communication, and practice proper etiquette, both in person and online. Okay, guys, well, there we are. We've come to the end of our conference lesson today on networking. Here are some resources available on the CDL Cercle des Langues website. We've got number 1, we've got 4 networking e-learning modules to check out. Number 2, we have an article from the CDL blog, and there's also even a YouTube video. So this recording will be available after the lesson, probably from tomorrow. You'll be able to have a look at those there. You can also take a screenshot as well. Okay, well, we have come to the end of the conference lesson today. So it just remains for me and the rest of the Cercle des Langues team to say thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I appreciate you coming to hear me talk on this subject today. I certainly hope I will be able to see you again or have your presence here again very, very soon. Thanks again once more. I will see you next time, guys. Take care now.